don't know. What do you think? Mask or no mask today, Mr. Clark?
You're vaccinated?
Yep.
Yep.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the May 25th Commissioner Conference. I'd like to call this meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everybody to the May 25th Commissioners Conference. And as you can see, we are maskless today because we are vaccinated. So we are taking a bold new step, moving in the direction. The next meeting we have will be in public. So we're trending in the right direction, everybody. Any unfinished business correspondence?
I have nothing.
Excellent. Thank you, Karen. Looking for a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting dated May 11, 2021 as presented.
So moved. Second?
Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote.
Mr. Mattson?
Yes.
Mr. Buller?
Yes.
Mr. Sargent?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda, looking for a motion to approve invoices in the amount of $1,428,347.11 for the period May 12th through May 25th, 2021.
Second?
Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote.
Mr. Mattson?
Yes.
Mr. Buller?
Yes.
Mr. Sargent?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda, looking for a motion to approve pending invoices in the amount of $824,958.55.
Second?
Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote.
Mr. Mattson?
Yes.
Mr. Buller?
Yes.
Mr. Sargent?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda, looking for a motion that the actual gross payroll in the amount of $270,137.81 be approved for payment for the period April 25th through May 8th, 2021.
So moved. Second?
Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for vote.
Mr. Mattson?
Yes.
Mr. Buller?
Yes.
Mr. Sargent?
Motion carries. Next on the agenda, looking for a motion that the tentative gross payroll in the amount of $272,475 be approved for payment for the period May 9th through May 22nd, 2021.
Second?
Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote.
Mr. Mattson?
Yes.
Mr. Buller?
Yes.
Mr. Sargent?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next under the agenda, looking for a motion to consider and approve a tolling agreement between the county and Crabtree, Rohrbaugh and Associates Incorporated.
So moved. Second?
Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote.
Mr. Mattson?
Yes.
Mr. Buller?
Yes.
Mr. Sargent?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next under the agenda, looking for a motion to consider and approve a stipulation to settle the tax assessment appeal filed by Charles and Larry McCauley Partnership.
So moved. Second?
Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote.
Mr. Mattson?
Yes.
Mr. Buller?
Yes.
Mr. Sargent?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda, looking for a motion to consider and approve engaging McNeese, Wallace, and Nurk LLC to represent the Jefferson County Prothonotary in the Prothonotary Fee Class Action litigation.
So moved. Second?
Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote.
Mr. Mattson?
Yes.
Mr. Buller?
Yes.
Mr. Sargent?
Motion carries. Next on the agenda, looking for a motion to transfer $29,927 from the restricted funds to cover COVID-related expenses.
So. Second?
Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Just so everybody's aware of, this money is for the security and updated to Karen's office and the architect plans for downstairs.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote.
Mr. Mattson?
Yes.
Mr. Buller?
Yes.
Mr. Sargent?
Motion carries. Next on the agenda, I'd like to give the floor to Mr. Chris Clark for an update.
Thank you. I'm gonna ramble a little bit on this one. First of all, today, as of this morning, Jefferson County's COVID data reflect the following. Confirmed cases of 1946, probable of 1354 for Jefferson County's total today of 3,300. We're still sitting at 98 fatalities since the last meeting, and still pretty much on an average of 4 or less new cases per day, which is great. The vaccinations are still moving in an upward direction, a little slower, but they're still moving upwards, with 38.4 of the county's population being fully vaccinated and 6.3 with at least one dose. So we're at 44.7% of the adult population in the county that has at least one dose of a vaccine, which that equates to 17,350 people being vaccinated. Adolescents 12 years of age or older can now receive the Pfizer vaccine. The Brookville Area School District did host a clinic over the weekend that targeted teenagers and anyone in the adulthood as well. They did have 68 people that took advantage of that clinic. Pennsylvania right now is less than a week away from nearly all COVID restrictions being lifted. That'll begin on May 31st. Please, though, keep in mind that business and public access offices can still require mitigation measures. Please be respectful. If they're requiring measures, they likely have a good reason for doing so. Compromised immune system, underlying health conditions, congregate settings like nursing homes and prisons are prime reasons that mitigation could still be in place for those locations. And I'm just throwing this one out as an example to draw the public mindset. If there was a COVID outbreak at our county jail, or any county's jail, even if 5 people out of 100 became ill and required medical attention, the county's going to be on the hook for a lot of those medical expenses. If one of those 5 became ill enough to be hospitalized and placed on a ventilator, the medical expense for that one person could surpass $100,000. If there were a death at the jail, I can't imagine what that cost would end up being. So that's just one disservice to the taxpayers if things were out of control. So again, just as an example, jails are going to be one of those places where mitigation efforts can still be in place. Our jail doing rapid testing when they come in, isolating for several days, testing before they release in the general population, mitigation efforts. Visitors in the jail, I don't know what the warden will continue with expectations of visitors, but there's probably going to be something in place just to keep everybody safe. Just like everyone else, I know I'm sick and tired of anything COVID. It's been a headache. It's caused tension and heartache. It's created animosity, highlighted deficiency, caused panic, and so much confusion. I feel it's brought into the spotlight a lack of coordination and information sharing from upper levels of government. Lower levels of government, such as ours, I think information sharing has been wonderful, and there's been a lot of support from our elected officials locally, and that's a good service for our area county. Some from the upper levels of government, I would have to say, is almost untrustable. Some aspects. There has been a lot of hard work at the upper levels of government, so I don't want to take completely away from it. Sometimes with some items through this whole process, I'm fearful that some of our upper levels of government aren't much more prepared today than they were a year ago or for future issues. And to me, that's kind of scary with as much as we've been through and so should have learned over the past year. Too much of it's been a political toll. But the bottom line with the COVID, it has made many people very sick, and compounded with existing and underlying health issues has been a killer. On the flip side, the whole process has also showed humanity's resilience, strength, and willpower to move forward. So if anything, there's one highlight for humanity. The last thing I want to mention is one of our own dispatchers a week ago experienced a fever and symptoms of COVID. It was recommended the dispatcher require a COVID test and be negative before returning to work. The dispatcher attempted a few different entities to get a COVID test. The dispatcher could get scheduled for several days from that point, which to me was completely not acceptable for somebody to have to wait several days and be scheduled for a COVID test. Another entity that this person checked with needed a referral from the hospital or an admission to the hospital in order to get a test. I know of other people that can only qualify for a test if they lost their sense of taste or smell. However, with a wait of several days before testing, the dispatcher still needed to quarantine. I would only guess the dispatcher would be listed as a probable case at that point in the eyes of the state because that's a number. The dispatcher was able to locate a walk-in test after a couple of days, test site after a couple of days, and then would have to wait for 3 more days for them test results. But why, after a year and millions of tests later, can it still be hard to get a test? It doesn't make any sense to me. I know there's places that you can go. It's a matter of finding them or knowing of them. But some of our providers, I think that it should be made easier for them to be able to provide tests for people. And for some reason, they still are struggling to do that, or bound by an upper echelon from somewhere that doesn't allow them to readily make them available. So again, some of those aspects in our system, even a year later, has not become any better. Unfortunately, this dispatcher didn't get test results before being rushed to the hospital with sudden poor oxygen perfusion. Within 2 hours of getting to the hospital, awake and alert, within 2 hours, this person had some health complications while there and was actually listed with a low chance of survival 2 hours later after reporting to the hospital. Less than 24 hours later, that our dispatcher had a 1% chance of survival because of complications of COVID. Right now, the survival odds have increased slightly, but the individual is not even close to being out of the woods. At this point, it's truly a miracle to have survived the weekend for this person. And it's just a true testament of the person's willpower, love of family, and lots of prayers that keep this individual and their family with us. Like all of our dispatchers from all 911 centers throughout the state, the country, the world, usually those people love their job. That's why they do it. They love to help people. This dispatcher would give the shirt off their back for anyone that needed help. So right now, this dispatcher and their family need all the help and prayers and love that they can get through us, and along with anybody else suffering from COVID anywhere in the world. And that sums up what I wanted to give today. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. I really appreciate it, and it can't be said enough what you and your team have done for the county, for the people, and the hours you put in, and the thoughts and just preparedness you have tried to do in spite of everything else going on. So I don't think enough thanks can be ever given to our heroes in the region that have really helped us weather this storm. So I really appreciate it, Chris, and please pass that along to the rest of your crew.
Definitely will. Thank you guys very
And
much.
if you can extend, I'm sure from all the commissioners and our staff here, thoughts and prayers.
I'll definitely do that.
To these last
Definitely.
And one thing I will, if I may, Mr. Chairman, is last week was National EMS Week, and we missed it 2 weeks ago in our previous meeting, but I would like to recognize all of our EMS workers in Jefferson County.
Absolutely.
As you just stated, they do a great job. So we're very lucky to have what we have.
Yeah, and I mean, the messages they were getting from up top, they took them upon themselves and streamlined them and made them work. Like it was amazing what you've done to protect yourselves and the community with everything. So really appreciate that. And our first line of defense has been solid around here.
And I can say that at the local levels, I think a tremendous amount of things have been learned and retooled. And I'm confident at the local level that if things get bad in the future, or God forbid we're confronted with a situation like this, I think in our mindsets with our agencies throughout the county and the region and the responders and our leadership, I think we can get through anything. I really do.
Well, and I mean, the pandemic plan that you guys rolled out that was 9, 10 years old, I think when this thing, it was really accurate. It was amazing how close it was. If we could have had the tools to adhere to it, it would have been a lot easier.
Right. And, you know, Tracy pulled that one out of the playbook because it was the exact one used during the swine flu days, the H1N1 in 2009. And that's what's frustrating to us. I know it has been to him is, and I hate to point the finger at the state, but I truly feel that the state through PEMA, the Department of Health, the upper government require the counties, emergency management agencies to create these plans and have them in place. It's nothing new. But then whenever push comes to shove, they totally change the aspect at that upper echelon and almost make your plan irrelevant because they can't get their minds around it. Or you have different administrations that create different rules or whatever, instead of, you know, keeping to the simple baseline of any of it. It just, there's a lot of it that doesn't make sense. And that's the frustrating part. But again, at the local levels, at least we can use a little bit of common sense and we don't have to reinvent the wheel with everything. You know, a little tweaking here and there, and it got us through it. It really did.
Yeah, it's frustrating, but one of the things it showed is rural Pennsylvania, it's probably rural America too, is really good at taking care of ourselves.
And that
Just give us the tools because, and part of it is because the expectation isn't there to being taken care of by anybody else.
Right. You have to do it.
You have to,
Yep.
but I mean, I'm proud of this community on the people that have stepped up.
And there's been a lot of people that have, a lot of people across the board that have stepped up, and so it's truly wonderful.
All right, well, thank you, Chris. All right, moving on, we have a couple of announcements. The next commissioner meeting is June 8th, 2021, 10:30 a.m. at Jefferson Place. There will be a virtual option available. I think we're going to keep that going. But if you'd like to come in person, we'd like to see you here 10:30 a.m. June 8th. There's a survey announcement for the Borough of Big Run for the proposed Mitchell Avenue Street Improvement Project. Through the next few weeks, Jefferson County, on behalf of the Borough of Big Run, will be conducting a survey of residents living in the Mitchell Avenue area of the Borough of Big Run. This survey is being conducted to obtain information to determine if the borough will be eligible to apply for grant funds to undertake a street improvement project in this section of the borough. All information received from the survey will be kept strictly confidential. Any questions should be directed to the Jefferson County Department of Development at 814-849-3047. So please fill out those surveys. It's important to get that project done. Any questions, please call 814-849-3047. Okay, next,
Along with that announcement, there's still a lot of money through community action for the rental emergency rental program. So anybody that needs it, please call them.
Okay. Anything else? I'd like to open the floor to public comments at this time. I don't think we have anyone on the phone. I'll see if we have anything on the internet. Doesn't look like anything's over there. Close public comments at this time. Now questions, comments from the press. Hear anything there? Looks like we're off the hook again. All right, without anything else, anyone else have anything for the good of the order?
No.
All right. Looking for a motion that the meeting be adjourned.
So, second.
Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote.
Mr. Matheson?
Yes.
Mr. Muller?
Yes.
Mr. Sextro?
Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. See you guys in a little bit.
Hey, after
Hey, Alex, I don't know if you can hear me, but we have a meeting tomorrow with Sam Lynch, our financial consultant, on the American Rescue Funds. So we are just starting that process.
Those cabinets will probably be up there today. Those cabinets, they'll be there today.
Is that what was going on upstairs?
What, you mean new ones, or,
The ones from upstairs.
yeah. Do we need to get them out of there?
Maintenance.
Oh, wow. Denny and Alan.
Denny and Alan and the new
Oh,
guy.
the new guy, yeah.
Oh.
We did not notice.